Hey everyone, you may be wondering why the stogie is half lit. It's because I've been talking to you for the last half hour and you'll never know it. Because, let me see if this thing follows my face. Yeah, I think it does. Okay. I apologize if the quality of this video sucks. I thought I liked this gimbal. We'll see. But anyway, I was sharing with you that will never be shared, except the air back there that I was talking to, that I've had an epiphany of late. And that epiphany is that our timing, you and me, in this crypto space could absolutely not be better. Could not be better. And the fact that you're watching this video means that you are on the leading edge. I'm not talking about the bleeding edge. I'm talking about the leading edge. What do I mean by that? I'm not going to share my epiphany yet. I'm going to go to my third point that I was talking about before the video cut off, but now that I have a second shot at it, I think it's a good first place to start. I remember back in the 90s, late 90s, there was a company out there that was going public in the .com space. At the time, everyone was just like you and I are right now with cryptocurrency. Like, huh? Don't understand it. They say that this email thing's going to be a thing. And they say that there are these browsers out there like Netscape. I guess Netscape is going public. I have no idea what the hell Netscape is. But yeah, this camera sucks. Am I recording? Looks like I'm recording. Are you gonna follow my face? You little bitch? Huh? I hope you guys enjoy these walks, and for those of you who don't, you know where the exit is. Yeah, come on, you finicky little thing. My little gimbal is supposed to follow my face. And so if my little gimbal stops following my face, I apologize. It's finicky. You may wonder why I only have half a stogie at the beginning of my talk. Well, it's because it's not the beginning of my talk. I've been talking to you for a long time. I just didn't know it powered off. Finicky little bitch. You little gimbal. I don't know what I'm gonna name you, but you better, if you don't want to go back to Amazon, you better start following me. Okay? Yeah, I'm over here. There you go. Yeah, right here. Okay, let's get this started again. I was sharing with you before I was so rudely interrupted how I've had an epiphany. And the epiphany is, over here, honey. Thank you. The epiphany is that we are right at the most perfect timing ever from a wealth transfer standpoint. What do I mean by that? I'm 56. I'm at the tail end of this thing they call the boomers. And I will tell you, the boomers pretty much have all the money right now. They've worked really hard over their careers to save up as much of that green stuff as they can. Invest in stocks, bonds, put that green stuff in their home safes, in between their mattresses. And I can guarantee you, not many of them understand cryptocurrency, and even fewer are invested in it. Over here. Over here, honey. Come on. Yeah, there you go. Right here. Look me in the eye. Okay. So, the boomers are going to go to their next chapter in this video game we're playing. And where they go after they exit this video game, I don't know. But there's going to be an entire generation that's going to inherit their wealth. Now, I'm kind of in that zone, right? I'm at the tail end of the boomers, the beginning of the other group, whatever the hell that one is. I don't even know. I don't keep track of that stuff. You know, there's millennials, I don't know. You get what I'm saying, though. We're people who are probably 40 to 60 who are going to be inheriting lots of wealth. I'm not saying me personally. My dad has lived modestly, awesome father of 6 kids. He put us all through college. Love that man. He's my hero. But those of us who are 40 to 60, we've been working on things like raising our kids, raising our families. You know, we all got married, started having kids when, you know, that was a thing. People thought about that. That was kind of one of their life's goals, is to get married and have a family. And so we're going to inherit all this wealth. And not many of us are in this cryptocurrency ecosystem right now. Why do I bring that up? It's because Bitcoin just passed the $1 trillion mark in valuation recently. That seems like a lot, right? It seems like a lot. But it is nothing when you talk about all of the asset classes combined. Do you know what the total value of all the asset classes combined is? $485 trillion. So add to that fact that out of that $485 trillion, which is all different kinds of assets, that the biggest one, fiat currency, has devalued like crazy. When the dollar first made the scene, well, let me put it this way. The dollar has devalued since it first made the scene in the 30s by 95%. Since 1991, just 30 years ago, what you could buy for $1, now to buy that same item, or I'm sorry, how do I put this? The dollar has devalued since in the last 30 years by 50%, meaning you have to make twice as much to buy the same thing that you bought in 1991. Excuse me, I don't want this to go out. I know it's rude, but you'll just have to deal with it, because that's dangerously close to going out. And I don't want that. I might edit that out, or I might not. Damn it. That's better. I'll probably edit that out. So, you have to work twice as hard to be able to spend the same amount on an item. So basically we've lost 50% of our purchasing power in the last 30 years. And guess what? That was when they weren't printing money like they did in 2020. Do you know 40% of all currency in circulation right now, all dollars, 40% was printed since this pandemic thing started. 40%. Think about 40% of all dollars that are out there were recently printed in the last year. What is that going to do to the buying power of the dollar? It's like let me give you an analogy to a cup of coffee. You know how you brew coffee and you have your coffee maker set to where it's like perfect, you know? The hot water goes through the grounds, and as it's coming out, it's black, and then it starts getting brown, and then it starts getting clear. And at the time it's almost clear, you have this perfect cup of coffee, but the water stops coming out. Hey everyone, it's Uncle Odd. Yeah, I'm not smoking a cigar because I've already smoked it. I've already done 3 videos on this walk. And I'm very, very frustrated because this gimbal isn't doing its face tracking thing. And I think that would be, if I was you watching this and it wasn't working, I think that would irritate me visually. So I stopped and I tried to figure it out. We'll see how this goes, but I'm going to start over. Frustratingly so, but my message, I think, is important today because I've had an epiphany. And the epiphany is centered around the fact that I think that we are in the just right place at the just right time, and I don't think we appreciate that enough. So Bitcoin now has broken through 50,000, so it's now, I think 51,000 when I left, and just seems really, really high, doesn't it? Well, always want to remind you that you don't have to buy a whole Bitcoin. You can buy $100 worth of Bitcoin, and you should. And if I don't convince you by the end of this, then I'm not doing my job. So my epiphany is that when you take a look at fiat currency, if you take a look at the dollar and the buying power of a dollar from way back in the 30s, what you could buy for a nickel back then would cost you $1 today. So if you have $100,000, if you had $5,000 back then, that would be worth what you and I know is $100,000 today. Why in the hell has the dollar devalued that much over time? I learned that in 1991, what you could buy for 50 cents in 91 is now you'd have to have $1 to buy the same thing. That's called the devaluation of a currency. Now, that's a lot, but we can still we still have money with our jobs to be able to afford things. But what I think people are maybe not thinking about is that degradation of the value of dollar over that long period of time did not include 2020. In 2020, these Druid Babylonian bastards who run the show, they printed, well, let me put it this way, 40% of all cash in circulation today was printed in 2020. And they're about ready to drop another 2 trillion. And when that happens, all you need to know is this: the value of your dollar is just going to continue to plummet. I heard the stat that we're looking at year over year from this point on, based upon all the debt against those printed dollars, that if you just had $100,000 in the bank with what they have printed in 2020, that is now going to be, every year that you keep it in the bank, you're going to lose 15%. So in a year, it's going to be worth $85,000. Then you take 0.15 of 85,000, a year after that, it's going to be worth that, and so on. So historically, what people used to do wisely is they would diversify their portfolios and buy stocks, bonds, gold, silver, along with keeping some cash for sure. But I'm 56 years old, and it's been beaten in my head by my father, who was the CEO of a bank, to save as much as you can, pay your house off, try to live debt-free. Not as easy these days, is it, to be able to do that, because the value of our dollars are so low. And so, but it was sage counsel in his time. But right now, with the inflation that's going on, man, over the next few years, you might see a gallon of milk at 20 bucks. Imagine that, 30 bucks. It's not unreasonable, sports fans. And enter Bitcoin. Back in 2009, it started, and it is now, because we've gone through a decade to where it is new but proven, it is now being referred to as digital gold. So that means that it is an asset that if you invest in it, it's likely to appreciate, very likely to appreciate instead of depreciate like the dollar is. So if you can do it, even if it's a small amount every month, I encourage you, after being in this for just 2 months, keep in mind I'm a newbie, I don't know shit, but I'm smart enough to read the tea leaves, and the tea leaves are saying that if I continue to hold on to my cash, it's going to be valued less and less over the next few years. Bitcoin allows you to hedge because there's scarcity involved. There's only 21 million Bitcoins out there. So if you consider the fact that there's 7 billion people, do you know if you own 0.25% of a Bitcoin, you are in the 1% club? Only 1% of the population owns 0.25%, I'm sorry, 0.25, 25% of a Bitcoin. So what is that? That's $12,500. So if you had $12,500 invested in Bitcoin right now, you'd be in the 1% club. That's pretty cool. So even though Bitcoin is priced at 50,000, 51,000, I think today, don't let that scare you away. Just get in the game. Put $100, 200 bucks, whatever you can. Sell some shit out of your garage. Whatever. Just try to work on your cryptocurrency portfolio. And I will tell you that that investment, if you do, is going to do nothing but appreciate. This I can tell you. This I can tell you. Why? I'll give you a few reasons. One is its scarcity. There's only 21 million of them out there, and not even that. I mean, there were so many Bitcoins over the years where people lost their private keywords that have just been lost. And so maybe that number's more like 15 million, perhaps 60 million, I don't know. But I know it's not 21, there's not 21 million of them out there. Those are gone. There's a whole lot of them that are gone. People kicking themselves because, you know, when somebody paid them in Bitcoin way back when, they just didn't know what to do with it. And you can totally get that. If you start playing around with this, you can totally get how you can screw it up. But so there's scarcity involved with this asset. And look, money is what people agree it is. Every fiat currency ever has in time gone to zero. So our dollar is one day going to go to zero. It just will. I think the average lifespan of a currency is 200 years. So the dollar isn't forever. They're destroying it. And they're printing so much money right now, it's going to rapidly demise. So the more that you can hedge and the more that you can get into Bitcoin, and I'm just going to keep it at Bitcoin and not talk about other altcoins, because I don't think that's necessary when you're a newbie. Matter of fact, I think that can just almost scare people away because they get so confused, and there's so much volatility in that market, and there can be tremendous gains, and ultimately you'll get there. I'll get there. But in the beginning, we're all newbies. Just start playing the Bitcoin game. And why do I feel confident that it's going to go up? Well, the big one is that Bitcoin as an investment for a corporation as part of their treasury has become socialized. It used to be, you know, don't do that. Now it's why not do that. Elon Musk led the way with Tesla, putting $1.5 billion of their treasury into it, and subsequently the value of Tesla stock increased 30%. And the fact is, with the cost of money these days, if corporations don't hedge and they don't get into this game, it's going to be at their demise. And so when I talk about timing and about how your timing is just perfect, is if you're in the game now, as these corporations start investing a percentage of their treasury, let's just say 5%. Do you know Apple has $200 million, billion, in their corporate treasury? So if they invested just 5%, that's $10 billion. If they make that decision, and they very well could any day, they will. Do you know what that's going to do to the price of Bitcoin? That one move alone would probably take it to over $100,000. And so whatever investment you have would double. Now, as they do that, you've got FOMO, corporate FOMO, that's going to kick in, to where you're going to have all these corporations to where it'll be a fiduciary irresponsibility to not invest part of your treasury in an asset that is appreciating versus depreciating at 15% a year. These people aren't dumb. They're going to do that. So if you're in on it now, this is why I pinch myself. I'm like, okay, I wasn't on the bleeding edge, but there's a lot of risk in being on the bleeding edge, and good for those people who were. I just wish them the best, and I hope they fly private the rest of their lives. They earned it. But for me, Everything that I'm looking at and studying, I'm just like, wow, I'm in on the ground floor of this. Think about the ground floor of back in the .com days. Do you know Netscape was the first company? They had a browser that went public, and talk about a risky investment if you were in on that IPO. But aren't you glad you were? And then everything that followed, and you've heard of the .com bubble. I work for a company, for a couple of entrepreneurs who are just insanely visionary. We incubated Priceline.com within one of our portfolio companies. And there was a point in time, those were the days, where Priceline.com was valuated more than all of the airlines combined. And then the bubble burst, and they lost about, I think almost overnight they lost about 80% of the valuation, but still, a couple billion. But point being is, they were on the leading edge back then. And fast forward, and you have the Netscape founder. Guess who he's the founder of now? Guess who's taken his new company public called Coinbase? Yeah, that guy. So you don't think you're in on the ground floor right now? Think about think about it almost like if you have Bitcoin now. Think about it like if you could invest in email or the web back then, where today it's like ubiquitous. We use it, don't even think about it. But imagine if you, in your portfolio, you had a little piece of email. Everyone using email. You had a little piece of that. I remember our CTO back then had talked about this company called Apple. I can still remember the room I was in when he was saying, you should invest in Apple stock. And I didn't. Should have listened to him. But good Lord, what would that be worth now? I mean, if I would have invested in that 20 years ago. Maybe not 20, less than that. But think about this. I mean, how time flies. When Bitcoin was first developed, Apple hadn't even released their first iPhone. Think about that. Think about that. That's a dozen years ago. So fast forward a dozen years and think about what a little piece of Bitcoin would be worth, or will be worth. I totally believe that when these corporations start investing their treasury, that there's going to be such a spike in the price of Bitcoin that it is just going to blow your mind. Now, add to that, and keep in mind the scarcity of it, add to that the fact that you have the baby boomers out there that are, sorry, baby boomers, I'm on the tail end of it, so I could put myself in the category, but there's going to be a huge transfer of wealth from the baby boomers to their progeny. And that transfer of wealth, there's going to need to be a parking spot for it. And there's going to be those of us who aren't dumb. There's going to be those of us who, we're not dumb, who get into this cryptocurrency ecosystem and start investing, and we're going to end up being able to compound that wealth into amazing wealth, really, seriously. So you have this transfer of wealth that is going to enter the retail investor into cryptocurrencies as it's better socialized and understood. And then That with the corporate infusion, you tell me that Bitcoin isn't going to be valued at over $1 million in, let's rewind back to today, early March 2021. I'm going to call my shot and say that within 3 years, Bitcoin's going to be over $1 million. How about that? How about them apples? Could be wrong, but I don't think I am. We are so early in this still. So I wanted to make this video just to share with you that this transfer of wealth, this new asset class called cryptocurrency led by Bitcoin, is going to be life-changing. And I'm just encouraging you as a newbie, as a fellow newbie, let's not fear it. Let's get in. Let's be safe. Learn the language. Become familiar with how you buy it, how you store it safely, how you protect it. And let's go along together for the ride. This is going to be fun. I'm telling you. I mean, just in the last 2 months alone, when I initially invested in this, the second week of January, my portfolio, just with that investment, has doubled. And I think it's going to double again within a few months. Maybe sooner. I don't know. Now, it could go the other direction, of course. But when you look at the trend of Bitcoin, let's just focus on Bitcoin. Go do your homework and take a look at Bitcoin over the last decade and just see the trajectory. And do you think that's just going to now go to zero when all these corporations are getting into the game, all these retail investors, when they inherit this wealth, are going to get into the game? The key right now is to be in the game. Get in the game. And I'm going to be here basically documenting my journey and sharing it with you because my passion right now is to, as a newbie, if I can somehow help other newbies benefit from my learnings, my mistakes, my wins, I kind of like that. Feels like paying it forward a bit. I like going on walks. I like getting my exercise, and I might as well talk to you about what's going on in Uncle Odd crypto land. And let's see where it goes together, all right? Great community out there. I have just witnessed it so far, and I've been so impressed with this community. And man, it's it's all for one, and we're the one, right? So will you get in the game? Get in the game. All you have to do is make it your personal goal right now to own 0.1 Bitcoin. Do what it takes to just own 0.1 Bitcoin. So what is that? That's like $5,000. Just start there. And over time, watch that grow. And it's not just growing by what you continue to put in, but this is the magic, folks. It's growing by where the market takes it. You're going to benefit from the corporations. You're going to benefit from the scarcity, and you are going to benefit from this giant transfer of wealth that is coming our way. And if that doesn't excite you, I don't know what does. I think we're all in store for lots of awesome dopamine hits over the next few years. I think this is kind of a once-in-a-lifetime place and space to be. So let's do this, shall we? Huh? As a team, you can be part of this odd family. We're kind of those people who, at Thanksgiving, the adults relegate to the little kids' table because they can't stand one more conversation related to anything, whether it's conspiracy related or crypto related, because You know what? Did I tell you that if you own 0.25% Bitcoin, you're in the 1% club? That just means there's a whole lot of people out there who aren't even thinking about this. So the fact that you're watching this, you are so far ahead of the game, you don't even know. You don't even know. So I'm excited. I hope you're excited. I hope you to continue to come on walks with me. I'm not smoking a cigar right now because I smoked it during the first 2 takes of this. Couldn't get my freaking camera to work right. This gimbal thing, it wasn't following my face. And because I respect and love you, I didn't think that would be good TV. So, you know, I was on a roll on a couple of them, but those riffs are gone. And I'll just end with this one. But hope you have a great weekend. I hope you have a great week. I hope you get in the game. And until the next walk, cheers.
See the money wanna stay for your meal. I'll say it's gonna put some love in your life. Don't you really wanna know how it feels? Everybody wanna see what it's like, but you even wanna be inside. It ain't lies. We all know there's better things in this life.
Stay safe, sane, and sanitized.